Welcome back to One More Mana. My name is Derek, and today we are getting into kind of a deck showcase slash deck tech. It's a commander that I have deck tech, but it is a way different version of a deck and one that I cannot stop playing. Very flavorful, and I cannot wait to jump into it. And it is my Runo Stromkirk Sea Monsters deck. Kind of get into the inspiration and everything for a second, but if you're wanting the cards in this deck, or maybe you're wanting to pick up all the good double master stuff, or if you're like me, you're still catching up on sets from last year, either way, head on over to TCG Player and they'll have everything you're looking for. Something like Runo, I think there's 4 different versions of the card, so you know I got to be specific about which foiling, which version, all that type of stuff. TCG Player have whatever you're looking for, and if you use the affiliate link down in the description below, you can help support the channel in the process. And speaking of supporting the channel, also check out Into the AM. If you use the discount code ManaSquad10, you can go ahead and save some money as well. Check out, use the affiliate link. These super comfy, super amazing. Now, I did not get a recording from Ken this week because he is out of the country doing shenanigans that Ken does, having a good time. So this is further proof that those little Ken clips are super legitimate, but don't worry, it'll be back next time. And Ken, as always, says they are the most comfortable clothes ever to flip tables in. But now let's jump over to Runo Stromkirk. The previous build I did of Runo was mostly like a Dimir good stuff, kind of my favorite Dimir cards thrown into the shell so I can copy cool stuff and do some reanimator shenanigans. And I didn't really go flavor-wise. I kind of just went my favorite cards, and it was a super fun deck, but I didn't really find myself attached to it long-term. Now, we were on the rules committee stream a couple weeks ago, and Scott played a card called Fish Liver Oil, and this changed everything for me. This card, it was so he was playing a Rick Smithy Sea Monster deck, and this card in a Sea Monster deck just made me so happy. I realized that I need to find some way to have even close to that level of flavor in a deck. So that inspired me to take a look back at Runo Stromkirk and kind of put my own take on Sea Monsters, and it has been so much fun. So if you're not familiar with Runo, when Runo ETBs, you can put a creature from your graveyard on top of your library, and then at the beginning of the upkeep, you can look at the top card of your library, and if it's a creature with CMC 6 or more, you can flip Runo into Crothis, which is essentially just, I made this mistake last time. I thought Runo was transforming in some way into Crothis. Well, thank you for the people in the comments for educating me, because that would not have made any sense. He is summoning or beckoning forth Crothis because he's some sort of like cult leader or some shit. So that's cool. And Crothis just shoots his giant self out the ocean, and whenever you attack, you can make copies of your creatures. But if there's serpents, leviathans, octopuses, or krakens, you go ahead and you get 2 tokens instead. So I dove all the way, see what I did there, dove all the way into that, and I wanted to go full sea monster and sea themed tribal. This deck is all about flavor, and I really want to focus on that for this. So basically everything in the deck that I can, and I'm trying to make this 100% flavor, either has to be a sea monster or some sort of sea creature, have like an ocean in the art, or I'm also allowing for some like undead vampire-y stuff, since Runo is a vampire. So if it's got some of that flavor, I'll allow it as well. But mostly I need an ocean or some sort of creature from the sea in the art, or it's not making the cut. And you'll see kind of the direction I went with that. So when we go to the creatures, 24 creatures, and they are basically all sea creatures. Anything that's not a serpent, leviathan, octopus, or kraken has to still be watery in some way. So like Master of Waves is great. You got Mirror Shell Crab, which is a great piece of interaction. It's a crab, so it doesn't get the extra doublers, but you can counter cool stuff with it. All of this stuff together, even the utility pieces I'm trying to have, all come together. One of my favorite flavorful pieces in the deck is I'm playing Lear, which was the kind of like the flashback commander from that new Innistrad block. And in the story, Lear, see, I did some story research. I know you think I don't do research and never read or anything. Well, that's true 99% of the time, but I got really into this shit, so I actually did some reading. And Lear is apparently like one of the top priests in this cult or whatever, so you had to throw Lear in the deck. And there's a lot of cool cantrippy stuff that we want to use late game that is great to be able to flashback. We're not super concerned with countering people's stuff, even though we're basically mono blue, so it does a lot for us, and obviously the flavor's there. But there are so many cool, check out the deck list. I'm not gonna read each one because most of these are on EDH Rec's top list of creatures, so you definitely are familiar with them, because obviously they're gonna be the sea monsters that Runo can make 2 copies of. But my single favorite one that I have to talk about is going to be Deep Sea Kraken. Basically, this is the suspend 6/6, just giant sea monster that can't be blocked. Every time a suspend counter comes off, I sing part of the Jaws music. I need to get this altered into Jaws, because every time one of those counters comes off, it's just bunna, dunna. And my friends think it's funny for now. I guarantee in like 6 months they're gonna hate it, but I will keep doing that shit because I'm committed to the flavor. Yeah, I'm gonna be actually looking to get this altered into Jaws at the next Command Fest. It is beautiful, and it's just kind of sums up the flavor. There's tons of interaction with sea monsters, tap down effects, bounce effects, and I wanted to make sure that all of those are encapsulated in the flavor, even if it's a little overcosted at times, because I really want to feel like I'm all in on this whole Eldritch Sea Monster theme. Now, we'll jump over into the sorceries, and this keeps going here. We have a lot of choices for loot effects or ponder type effects, but again, we need that ocean. So Chart a Course and the Merfolk Ponder from Lorwyn are exactly what we're looking for. If we want board wipes, we have things like River's Rebuke and Whelming Wave. Again, super flavorful, and obviously you gotta run or walk the plank in here because we gotta feed whatever our opponent's creatures are to the sea monsters waiting below. We need to have that. It's just mandatory. And we have some reanimate effects and stuff like that, again, kind of with that undead vampire theme that also fit the function of the deck, which I love. In the instance, we have a lot of similar things. We have a lot of those look at the top cards of your library, reshuffle type effects, whether it's Brainstorm or Consider. A lot of different effects that, again, fit that theme with some watery, spooky art. I love Otherworldly Gaze, which even adds into that kind of Eldritch Horror Cthulhu thing with all the eyes everywhere. One of the most important things to me was that the counterspell package, if any, had to be water themed. If it's not a water themed sea monster counterspell, I don't want it in here. So we got the fishy Merfolk Hand Cryptic Command, because like super watery. We got Mystic Confluence, because some person's just like shooting out the water, probably pissing off all the sea monsters below. And then we have Submerge, which is just an awesome, potentially for free bounce spell that's just drowning out all our opponent's creatures, doing exactly what we want. If we want to throw a little cherry on top, we got Thirst for Discovery, and especially the new one has a quote from Runo on there. It's crazy how much this is all tying together with the flavor, but still being super functional. And I think the most powerful, if you're trying to be mean, interaction spell is going to be Wash Away. Again, very flavorful, but the fact that it's basically a 1-mana counterspell for commanders is mean as shit. And if you're playing, this is not the most powerful deck, so if you're playing against some extra broken commanders, shout out Danny in every deck you play, this is the perfect card to slow that down and go ahead and get you on a more even playing field. And then with the enchantments, we have some undead flavor with the Animate Dead and Heartless Summoning, which is one of my favorite cards in the deck to ramp out your sea monsters, since -1/-1 really doesn't matter. And then some of my favorite kind of fishy flavor is going to be, I just straight up stole the Fish Liver Oil from Scott, so shout out, because it is just so, I wanted to play this card. I wanted a deck for this card, and it's kind of perfect for it. Got Mystic Remora for card draw, Search for Iscanta for card advantage, Kiora Best the Sea God for just a whole tap down effect. The flavor just keeps rolling, and I love what the enchantments bring to it. It's a nice mix and some really, really powerful cards that just so happen to fit the theme. Now we're going to jump to the artifacts. I am very disappointed in myself for the artifacts. I couldn't really find the mana rocks I wanted here for water, so I'm definitely cheating and running mana rocks still. Ideally, over time, I want to replace these with more flavorful options, but I did want the deck to function, so I do have just basic rocks, so shame on me for that. But I did find some kind of better options in the sense of like Dowsing Dagger and Thematic Compass in cards that flip into lands, because that whole Ixalan set with the Vampire Pirates kind of felt like fit Runo's vibe a lot. I feel like he would kind of get along well with them, so I kind of reached for some flavor there, but I do want to rework this package of artifacts over time with hopefully new art or altars or things like that to get it more watery themed. Biden Athasa is really the only super flavorful card in this slot, but I'll roll with it, and this is something that has to be improved over time. And then with the lands, I'm trying to run as many islands as possible. Really the only non-basics, I want them to be either dual types, so they're also islands, or have really flavorful art, like a Drowned Catacomb, where it's just shipwrecks and clearly where sea monsters have been. It really, really works well for the deck. I do have some more functional lands, like I am running Urborg because I do want it to run somewhat, and I am running Volrath Stronghold to really kind of mesh with what Runo wants to do. But I really, really love the heavy number of basics in here because I just want islands everywhere. I do want this to be the home in the future for any number of islands matter cards. I've always wanted to run some of those, but never had a home for it. And I feel like, I don't know, having a ton of islands on board feels flavorful, and especially with those Innistrad Shipwreck, the full art ones, it just feels perfect. I am running Dark Depths in here. I basically, every time I draw it, I don't want it because there's no land tutors, nothing. It's basically a dead card most times, but the flavor is just too good. I know it's not a sea monster, but it is the most beautiful of Eldritch horrors in Merit Lage. So This card can't get cut no matter how non-functional it is. I love it. That's gonna do it for the categories. It's a deck showcase, but why not say the way the deck wins? And it is so straight up, easy, simple. We are trying to just punch everyone in the face with sea monsters. We're making clones of sea monsters, punching, unblockable, evasion, all these types of things. Sometimes it doesn't matter because we have so many giant sea monsters, so many of them tap down boards, bounce boards. This deck takes a while to get rolling, but when it does, it gets scary, and in the most flavorful way possible. The only way to win with this deck is to punch people in the face with sea monsters. It's gonna do it for the little deck tech / deck showcase. A little brief, kind of wanted to go over it quick, but I really wanted to just get this out there. I can't stop thinking about the deck and brewing around the deck and trying to find new tech for the deck. So I figured I would just talk about it because I love it so much. So if you find me in Command Fest Orlando, I'm probably gonna be playing this. You can kind of see it firsthand. Huge shout out to the patrons as always. We love and appreciate y'all so much, and just so excited for everything to come. Again, yeah, if you all will be in Orlando, come find us. Me and Sed will be running around. No Ken, so if you can't find us by the tables being thrown in the air like normal, but we'll still be there to get in some games. Plenty of stuff to come as always, but I will see y'all next time.